just can't say enough how good this Black Rifle coffee is. I'm having Fit Fuel this morning. Black Rifle Coffee Company. Again, I am not sponsored by these guys. I just love their coffee. I am Mike with Obviously Outdoorsmen. Thank you for tuning in to FLT number 10. Number 10 already, guys. And I am glad I am doing this podcast on a Sunday morning. That way you guys are waking up, having your coffee, enjoying breakfast, listening to this. Probably going to be a little bit longer of a FLT talk, First Light Talk. If you guys are new to this series, this is the First Light Talks, and there are 10 out so far. This is number 10, and I'm basically posting them every morning around 6 to 8 a.m., depending on how long it takes to edit these videos every morning. But you guys can tune in for a new video or new podcast every single day. So I like to start these videos off with a current news article, and this one is by Gear Junkie, and it is titled, Colorado Proposes Hunting Ban on Mountain Lion, Lynx, and Bobcat. Now this is interesting because lynx are already a protected species, but mountain lion and bobcat, do have a hunting season. So this is one of the first bills to come through Colorado's state legislature of 2022, and it's another case of lawmakers following the national theme where they're trying to go above and beyond and disregard the wildlife science to try and legislate wildlife management. They're basically going around the science behind all the seasons and regulations just to try and ban something to appease the mass that are against hunting. And this current bill that passed the desk of the state legislature so far, this bill will strip Colorado's parks and wildlife role in managing mountain lion and bobcat, and they take away the possibility of managing them and managing lynx for that matter, because depending on the lynx population, if it gets to a certain number, there would have to be some type of regulation on them. And this bill, it bans shooting, wounding, killing, trapping a bobcat, Canada lynx, or mountain lion. So it bans all of it. It basically bans humans' impact in taking care of the population in Colorado of bobcat, lynx, and mountain lion. And these common animal right positions are driving this bill. There has been a lot of new proposed bans in the recent years trying to limit hunters all across the country, and bans include New Jersey's banned bear hunt, New Jersey's ban of urine-based deer lures, and this happened in many other states across the country as well in the West. New Jersey's ban of all forms of hunting contests. So, like, there used to be a New Jersey Deer Classic in the Edison Expo show every single year of all the biggest bucks that were entered in the state that year. And they took that away. They took away hunting contests. They also took away Utah's trail cameras use. I talked about that one in an earlier podcast as well. There are just a bunch of new laws that are coming into effect limiting us hunters and what our rights are. And back to this bill. Essentially, this bill and these animal rights people, they just want to look past the science and just close hunting altogether. They look past the facts that the mountain lion and bobcat populations are thriving. And if they're not kept in check, then there will have to be a surplus overkill of their prey. And with a surplus in mountain lions, that's when they become a bigger threat to people and getting attacked. I don't know if you guys are on social media a lot, but I'm sure you guys have definitely seen mountain lions on people's back porch, scratching at their window, staring at their tiny little 4-pound dog through the glass window. And that tiny glass window is the only thing protecting their dog from that hungry mountain lion outside that door. I know there was a bunch of videos of mountain lions following joggers and hikers out in like Colorado and them states over there and attacking joggers. And if you guys just search up mountain lion attacks or a mountain lion attacks jogger or anything like that, then you're going to see a ton of videos on why these animals need to be regulated. not demolish, like don't extinct the mountain lion. Obviously, that is never a hunter's objective. Just to regulate the population. Limited amount of harvest will regulate the population, and it is proven to be effective as all of the populations are still growing every single year, and some at a more significant number than others. Like the New Jersey bear population, it closed for, I believe it's been 1 year that it's been closed now, and 2 years ago they limited it to, they closed off state land and I believe federal properties. I could be wrong on that. I know state land had definitely closed, and they only had it open to private, and then they closed it all together the next year. So these people don't think about how banning hunting also takes away key funding to the animals' conservation. If you guys don't know, the Pittman-Robertson Act, it was enacted in 1937 by Senator Key Pittman and Congressman Absalom Willis Robertson. And it was signed by FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt. And this act provides funding for the restoration, selection, and wildlife management and wildlife habitat improvement. So essentially there's an 11% federal excise tax on all sporting arms, ammo, archery equipment, as well as a 10% tax on handguns. And a portion of the collected tax are appointed to each state on a formula basis, and they pay up to 75% of approved projects. And these projects can include the acquisition and improvement of wildlife habitat, wildlife research, hunter education, state parks to open to all the public, and conservation efforts. So if you ban all hunting, they're just not looking at the facts here. So one of the key factors that drives the Pittman-Robertson Act is hunting license sales. And so much of the hunting license dollars, and I believe it's in the billions and billions of dollars on how much money that has been raised just through hunting licenses alone. But then when you get into the side pieces, like the duck stamp alone has generated more than $1.1 billion for the preservation of over 6 million acres of waterfowl habitat. Another one would be the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and that has generated more than 7.9 million acres of habitat and other wildlife since 1984. All right, there are so many of these little things that are in place to better the conservation of the wildlife, to make it better for our future generations, like our sons, our daughters, and not even that, our grandson and their daughters, and how, just on and on and on. We're trying to save this land and save these species so our future generations can still experience them. They can still go out and hunt them, still manage the population hundreds of years down the line. And I'm very concerned by that point. A lot of hunting is going to be outlawed by that time. And in some way or another, we have to start gaining some ground back. Because if they keep getting the upper hand and we keep getting stuff taken away, certain hunts, certain seasons, and certain land get taken away, then eventually we're going to really have nothing to work with, and there's going to be no conservation efforts going out there, or very little, because there are still conservation efforts outside of like this act and the way hunting license sales and the stamps. There are other conservation efforts and money funding going towards it, but compared to this, a lot of the time it's very, very minuscule compared to this. So there's definitely not going to be a giant stride once all the hunting's banned. It's going to get a big punch in the gut once all that stuff is gone. And people don't think, like out in Yellowstone, a lot of that is hunting based driven. The hunting license sales, all the dollars that come to it is all hunting based related. That is the only way to keep it open to the public, X, Y, and Z. And Yellowstone, for example, we're trying to keep places open like that, open to the whole general public. You don't even have to hunt or fish or anything like that. It's just trying to keep it open for the general public to experience wildlife and go on from there. So I know this current news article was a little wordy and timely, and I took about 10 minutes of your time with just this current news article, but I think it was very worthy of a rant. But on to today's actual topic, the internet's impact on hunting and fishing good and bad. And when I say internets, that could just be the internet in general or social media especially. So if we start with the bad that's happened from the internet to hunting and fishing and just the outdoors. Okay, back in the day, everyone wore like old school Realtree camo, mix and match anything, maybe just blue jeans with like a flannel on. And any deer that was taken was a great deer. The hunting community was more judgmental free. Like you could wear anything you want, you could shoot them with anything you want, and it was just like, oh, you got a big buck, you got a doe, you got a spike. It didn't really matter. It was like, good deer, you got some good meat on the ground. Tell me about your hunt. It was all about the stories, and that we've basically like driven away from that. It's not about the stories anymore. It's not about making memories. It's not about traditions, and that should be what it's all about. Okay, now with social media and like the hunting influencers or fishing influencers, if you don't have like matching Sitka camo, then you're basically a noob. And all bucks have to be a mature giant. And if someone popular, quote unquote, shoots a smaller buck, then they have to say it's like a cull buck or it's not the biggest buck, but just in some way justify their taking of that animal and feel better that they took a smaller deer. Okay, back then, you shot a smaller deer. It's like, yep, I shot this 4-pointer. This is how it went. I was drinking coffee, sitting up against a tree, and this thing came up over the ridge. It was foggy out, overcast. The sun just came up, sitting against this tree. I pulled up my gun, I shot it, and here it is, a long drag out. It was all about the story. It didn't matter about the buck, all right? But if they shot a bigger buck, it was like, oh, nice, you shot a bigger buck. Cool. That's all it was. There was no bashing. It wasn't like, oh, you shot a 4-pointer. You should let him walk. You should let him walk. It didn't matter about any of that. All right. Another big aspect that's bad for the internet's impact on hunting, anyone can post a YouTube video, meaning an expert versus a noob or a beginner. If the way they portray themselves, a noob can portray themselves like they know something in the outdoors or hunting or fishing, and really the information is getting misconstrued. Like if, let's say a newbie hunter, like they've been hunting like a couple times and maybe they killed one animal. Okay, and they can go on YouTube and say, this is how you do it, and you use this, this, and this, and maybe the next new hunter will watch that video and they're going to do the same things, and it could be in all reality they're doing all the things wrong. So you want to get a good mentor. You want to choose your mentors wisely. If you guys are a new hunter and you're listening to this podcast, please find a mentor and make sure you pick the right one, because I taught Rob how to hunt. I taught Tyler how to hunt. And I taught one other person how to hunt. Or I actually taught a couple different people how to hunt, but only 3 people really like caught on and they kept with it. So you want to make sure you choose your mentors wisely, because you don't want to have someone that barely knows hunting, barely knows how to process a deer or the deer's tactics and their behavior. You want to find a mentor that knows everything that there possibly can be about whatever species you are trying to go after, deer, bear, any land animal, or any type of fish, or X, Y, and Z. You don't want to go with someone that's just like, yep, I shot one deer and it was basically all luck, but this is how I did. You don't want to learn that way. You want someone to teach you where they bed, why they feed here, why they bed here, the rut and how the rut works. The does are going to be over here, X, Y, the whole thing. You just want to choose a mentor wisely. And another thing on the bad end, social media makes it easy for someone to feel like they're the only ones without the product. And this happened to me as well. The Deer Society's extinguisher grunt call and the moon guide. Okay, I've seen so many ads, from YouTube ads to Instagram ads to Facebook ads and all these videos, and even on TV, of like, you have to use this moon guide because this is what's proven to work, and this grunt call is the best thing that's ever been invented. And I never bought the moon guide, thankfully. Okay, I'm thankful I've never bought that. And I did end up buying the extinguisher grunt call. And don't get me wrong, I do like the call. I wish there were certain things different about it, but it's definitely not the best out there, in my opinion. Right? There are other cheaper calls that have less promotion behind them, and they work just as good, if not better, than the ones that getting promoted mainstream across TV, internet, social medias, everywhere. All right, so don't feel like you're the only one without the product, because a lot of people nowadays, a lot of the hunters, they buy all the top gear just to look the part, and they could have zero knowledge of the hunt. So, for example, I always go back to Rob because he's one of the people that I have taught how to hunt. In the beginning, he bought all the top gear. He bought a brand new bow, one of the top of the line bows, all the new arrows, broadheads, everything. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. He bought all new camo, big hiking backpack, new boots. He bought a stand, and that's great. But in a way, he can look the part. If someone that doesn't know hunting sees him, they're like, he's a hunter. But in all reality, he is a brand new hunter that just bought everything to get into hunting and have everything he needs. Now, let's say it's not someone like Rob that now knows a lot of knowledge about the outdoors and hunting. Let's say it's just random Joe Schmo. He just watched a ton of YouTube videos on the gear and the bow to buy and the best backpack and the best boots. He just went out there and bought everything. And then he goes into the woods with his first hunt. But if you see him walking in the woods, like down the trail from his car, you'd be like, that's a good hunter. He is matching everything, and he looks the part to the T. And that's bad because everyone falls victim to this on social media, that they look at this guy on social media, whether it's Crush and with Lee and Tiffany, or Relentless Pursuit, or the Real Tree Monster, Big Bucks, whatever it is, that they look, and these guys are all great people. I mean, I've never met them, but they could be very well great people. And I'm not saying they're bad people at all. But a lot of the new people, they may look up to them and just buy everything they have and then just try and go into the woods and do what they do. And that's not how it works. These people on TV have years and years and years of hunting experience. So there are a lot of negative impacts from the internet if done wrong. Now, a lot of this stuff, if you don't succumb to all this promotion and all these ads, and if you don't watch and listen to too much of the BS that goes on with, like, you have to shoot a mature buck, you just have to do it, otherwise you're a shitty hunter. Don't listen to any of that. All right? Hunt for yourself. The main aspect of hunting, the whole core behind it, is to build traditions, build memories, share the outdoors with as many people as possible that are willing to learn. And even if they're not willing to learn how to hunt, as long as they're interested and they're not a negative Nancy, then share the experience with them, and maybe it will make them try it for once. Like Rob, he never hunted a day before in his life. Tyler never hunted a day before in his life. Both of them didn't grow up around hunting, and I got them both into hunting, and they absolutely love it. You could change someone's lives just by introducing them into the outdoors and try and give them your full knowledge that you know. And to build traditions, okay, I have traditions every opening day. I like to go to this one spot that I have every opening day. I don't care what's on trail camera, what's coming into the pile or just is coming on the camera in general. I just like going to this one spot. All right, whether I see something or not, I like going there, and then from there, I go on from that. Every Saturday of shotgun, so there's 1 week of shotgun week in New Jersey. Every Saturday of shotgun, we do deer drives. Every Monday of shotgun, the opening day of shotgun week, I like going onto just a random ridge. I don't bait, I don't do anything. I just park in the same general area every year, and I walk up to a ridge, and I sit there and I enjoy my coffee. I watch the sun come up, the fog lift up, and if I see a deer and if I see a buck, great. I like to do that for my first 2 hours every single Monday morning of shotgun week. Every Saturday, we gather a group of guys. We meet up in the end parking lot of where we hunt, and we do deer drives all of Saturday. We call it the Orange Army, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this before if you guys are hunters. The Orange Army hits the woods when me and my group go out on Saturday of Shotgun on the land that we hunt. We just put a lot of boots on the ground, a lot of miles behind us, and we try and do the best that we could possibly do. Even if we shoot nothing, it's a tradition. We meet up, we bullshit in the parking lot for like a half hour until it gets a little bit more lighter out and you could see clearer, so it's more safer. Just try and build traditions, memories, and share the outdoors. That's the key thing that there is. But there are also a lot of good impacts that the internet has on the hunting and fishing aspect. Okay? But we're basically talking about hunting this time. So hunting apps like Hunt Stand, Onyx Hunts, Go Hunt. There are many hunting apps. I highly recommend Onyx and Hunt Stand. I use Hunt Stand. A lot of people I know use Onyx, and I believe they both work amazing. Hunting apps make it so that you cut down on the learning curve when you go to check out a property. Maybe it's for the first time that you've ever seen this piece of woods. Maybe you're trying to go out west and you gained a tag, and you can basically scope out the property and gain a general base knowledge without even stepping a single foot in the woods. You can go there, you can show up after doing the homework at home, never being to this property, and already have a general base knowledge. You already know where you want to look and where the thicker cover is, where the water is. Maybe it's a little less dense in this area from the maps. In the 3D views, you go, okay, there's the hill, there's the mountain, there's the gully. There is so much from these hunting apps that you can learn just from your couch, and you could do a lot of general knowledge from just looking at these apps. You can learn the weather impact on these apps, the property info, and that's my favorite aspect is the parcel info on the Hunt Stand app, and I believe Onyx has it too. You go on there and you know which is your property that you're allowed to hunt on, whether it's state land or private property. You see the borders of the property and how far you have to go. Okay, there's a lot of times hunting logs, so you could log your hunts. Another favorite one of mine is you can pin anything that's interesting to you. So whether it's buck poop, buck rubs, buck bedding, turkey feeding area, just a deer feeding area, a primary food source, a water source. You can even name like the cabin, the parking spot, the gate, the trail crossing, buck sheds, just any type of pin that you want to drop on this map, and it saves it all in one location. It's a giant scouting tool just from your phone that you could either utilize on your couch, just going over everything and developing a game plan, or in the woods when you find that buck rub or buck shed, you can just go into this app and go to your current location and drop the pin exactly where you're standing, and you can basically just watch the knowledge pile up just from one walk in the woods. You'd be like, oh, that trail's going out here, and then they're crossing out of there, and there's their bedding, and there's the water, and there's the food, and then it all makes sense in your head. That it all makes sense in the soup of knowledge that's going around and around in your head, and hopefully it finally sparks and everything ignites, and then you learn something that you didn't know, and you shoot the biggest buck of your life. All right. Secondly, with a million videos online like YouTube or just the internet in general, to search up, you can learn how to be a better hunter just by taking advice, or just listening to the videos and watching and writing it down. Okay, like I mentioned before on how just a noob can post a video compared to an expert or a more knowledgeable hunter. All right, if you do your research and find the more knowledgeable hunter, the expert, and you look at the best gear and the best tactics and the gutting and the skinning process and the quartering process and how you take care of the meat, if you go on YouTube, you can find videos from every letter down the alphabet to Z on what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and how to do it to a T of hunting and scouting and just everything. All right. And that's why I love doing this. I can teach as many people that want to learn and they want to come to my channel and they want to listen to these videos. All they have to do is listen, whether they're at work, they're sitting on the toilet, they're on the couch, in their car driving. And that's when I listen to most of my videos. I'll be doing a drive, whether it's driving to work, driving to the store. I'll pop on a YouTube video and try and gain a little bit of knowledge that maybe I don't know. So you can just go online and just search up any of these best tactics, and then you got to implement them in the woods once you buy all this stuff or learn all this stuff. There's still a learning process, but it cuts it down by at least 50%. And social media and like online forums like Facebook forums, or if you're from New Jersey, it's like NJ Woods and Water or NJ's Hunting Forum. They're interactive, and if there's good people on these forums, and if you find the good people on social media, it's one of the best forums to introduce new hunters. It's one of the best way to introduce new hunters that grew up with zero knowledge of hunting. All right, just finding someone new that's interesting, that likes to hunt, and basically finding an online mentor, or maybe just meeting someone somewhere, just getting a mentor and asking these questions in forums or like Facebook hunting groups. You can just ask your general based questions and you get them answered. Now, don't listen to everyone on Facebook forums, okay? The Facebook groups, a lot of them guys are just there to troll people and to bash on people and look at the same old bullshit that comes up every single day on some of these groups. But you can learn a lot from social media and YouTube and just watching videos. It's literally one of the best ways for new hunters that grew up with zero knowledge of the outdoors to learn how to hunt. All right, it's like a great example. Okay, so Joe Rogan. If you guys don't know who Joe Rogan is, please learn who Joe Rogan is. He's one of the top podcasters in the world, essentially. And back then, he's a big hunter now, but back then he was on the verge of either becoming like a vegetarian vegan or hunting, killing his own food. And he was taken out by Steven Rinella the first time. Steve Rinella, the owner and producer of Meat Eater, the show on Netflix and YouTube. You can find all his stuff everywhere too. He has amazing content. But Joe Rogan was introduced to hunting by Steve Rinella. And it's Steve is a very knowledgeable guy about hunting. So he taught Joe Rogan the ropes. He got Joe on his first deer, and it basically made Joe fall in love with it. So being that Joe Rogan gets millions and millions and millions and millions of listeners on his podcast when he talks about hunting, someone that may just be following Joe Rogan for maybe a UFC interest or just any interest on any current topic, and they hear about hunting and then they learn that they want to try it, all they have to do is really go on YouTube and search, how do I start the hunting process? How do I start to learn how to hunt? And they'll find articles on getting your hunting education first. And then once you start doing your hunter education, then you already have a little bit base knowledge of what you're getting into. All right. You'll find what bows that are the best bows on the market right now, and the best form for them, and the best arrows that go along with them, and the best broadheads to knock. How do I shoot better? And then where should I set up my stand locations? Should I bait? What trail cameras? How to control buck fever? How to track an animal? How to gut the animal? How to basically skin the animal, butcher the animal, quarter the animal, how to cook the animal. Okay? From A to Z, there are YouTube videos on it. So if someone that does not know hunting, doesn't know anyone that hunts, all they have to do is search on YouTube or search on the internet how to do any specific thing, and they could find it. Just try and watch as many videos as you can on the certain topic that you're trying to learn. Sometimes if you just watch one video, in the first video you watch may be the wrong information, and then if you watch 10 more videos, that'll all give you the right information. So don't just watch one video when you're trying to learn something new. Another thing social media has done, it has spread the word on the conservation efforts that take place and the journeys and stories a lot of the people take and how the outdoors influence them. So immediately what comes to mind is Cameron Hanes. He's one of the most popular bow hunters right now, from the non-hunter aspect, if that makes sense in any way. Because a lot of the hunters that are on the Outdoor channel, if you ask any non-hunter or just any random guy, they probably won't know who like Michael Waddell is. But if you ask anyone that if they know who Cameron Hanes is, I guarantee you more people will know who Cameron Hanes is versus Michael Waddell. So Cam Hanes is like, his motto is lift, run, shoot. So he basically works out to benefit himself into the outdoors. How does working out and keeping his lifestyle healthy and all these running marathons that he does, he runs all the time, how does that correlate to the outdoors? Is it going to make him a better hunter? And he basically posts the entire story on Instagram of what he does every single day, him shooting his bow, him working out, him shooting every single day he's shooting. So I believe he has a couple million followers as well. And just anyone that is just a workout-aholic, a gym rat, they can watch what he does and maybe they could get inspired to hunt. So he's telling the story on how hunting benefits his gym life as well. Not just how the gym benefits his hunting, how hunting benefits his gym life. Because all of the wild game meat is going to make him healthier, going to make him stronger. It's a cleaner, leaner meat. And he's just built like a brick shit house. All right? He's not a young guy either. And he's shredded. Okay? So sometimes the people with the biggest platforms can influence the most people. So if they do it the right way, like I believe Cam Hanes is doing, lift, run, shoot, I think it's great. He's promoting a healthy lifestyle. He's promoting archery and hunting and knowing where your meat came from. He's promoting all of the right things. So he is a very good person to have that type of platform. So, and the fact that it has spread word on the conservation efforts, then it's basically getting around, even in just a non-hunting aspect, it's showing the people, the anti-hunters and animal rights activists, certain times the conservation that comes through hunting. So maybe they're not pushing hunting in these articles. Maybe they're just touching on them and then promoting the conservation efforts that actually did come out of hunting efforts. Then they are driving the promotion of hunting indirectly. So out of all of the good and bad that comes from the internet and social media, I believe there is way more good than bad things that has happened since the dawn of the internet. But it is very easy to look at all the bad things and how it affected the hunting industry. And I started with this video of how it affected hunting and fishing, but it turned into just more hunting. So I apologize for that. Maybe I will do a part 2 of an FLT talk of how it affected especially just the fishing side of it, and I won't touch on hunting at all in that talk. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, and that probably will happen definitely. But just make sure you guys are out there for the right reasons, and you learn from the right people, and you watch the right videos, make memories, make traditions, share it with as many people as you can, family, friends, co-workers, just anyone that is willing to learn. And even if they don't want to take part in hunting, maybe give them a little bit of game meat and at least show them why you do it. Be like, this backstrap tastes amazing. Here, you want to try it? This is why I hunt. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I understand. I don't want to take part in hunting. Just like cameraman Naz, he doesn't want to take part in hunting, but he loves eating venison. So sometimes everyone isn't a hunter. That's just the cold hard truth. Everyone's not a hunter. But if you can share the experiences with as many people as possible, you're bettering the world in the long run. Keep hunting alive. But that is it, guys. I am Mike with Obviously Outdoorsmen. Thank you for tuning in to FLT number 10. If you guys are new to this, please give this a rating. Give me some feedback. If you liked this podcast or not, tell me why you didn't, please. And if you liked it, tell me the aspects that I did good on and I hit on the right way. And if you guys want to tune in tomorrow to FLT number 11 or First Light Talks, wake up, listen to this First Light Talk as the sun is coming up, enjoy your coffee, or hit the gym, lift some weights, lift, run, shoot, as Cam Hanes says, and just get after it. Thank you, guys. please give this video please give this video a share, or if you guys are listening on an audio platform like Spotify or Apple Music, please just give it a share on any of the social media platforms. Just spread hunting and share it with as many people as you can. Spread the word. I am Mike with Obviously Outdoorsmen. Enjoy your Sunday. Peace, everybody.